All right, let's do it. It is time for the Morning Meowncements. Morning Meowncements on the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel. This is the kitsch-minded morning show where we get you ready for the day. I am your host, Nightcat. Thank you so much for being here. We've got an awesome show coming up. As usual, I'm gonna get you caught up on some pop culture news so you've got stuff to talk about when you get to work and school. That's the Morning Mews coming up later. And then I'm gonna tell you the truth behind that myth, whether or not Coca-Cola contained cocaine. Where did that come from? Did it happen? Yes, it did, and we're gonna talk about it. But before we get into any of that, we gotta talk about Tinder. I have been back on the Tinder now for 3 months, and it has changed a lot in the last year, as most things have due to the pandemic. Tinder, I'm sure, saw a huge surge in traffic as soon as everyone got locked down because we couldn't interact with people face to face. So I got back on, and I noticed a few different changes, a lot of different features, mostly that their prices went way up. If you want the premium packages, you gotta pay a hefty price for it. But let me tell you what they've done. They have made it so mean if you're not a 10 to be on Tinder. Because, boy, do they do everything they can to make you feel a little bit bad for yourself so you give them more money. One of the new things that it does, if you swipe on someone who's hot, now, they refer to it as popular on the app. They're like, wow, you're liking a popular user. That pop-up comes up, wow, you're liking a popular user. You should consider upgrading your like to a super like. Reading between the lines there, let me tell you what that means. What that means is, wow, you're hitting a little above your weight class, aren't you? You're shooting a little out of your league there. I mean, it's fine, you're welcome to, but it's gonna cost you, and it's gonna cost you big. Ooh, Tinder is preying on the lonely and single. I don't know, man. Here's the other thing too about Tinder that I realized. So if you pay their monthly subscription, if Tinder normally works like you swipe right, if you like them, you swipe left. If you don't, if you both swipe right, then you match and then you can talk, right? Well, if you pay for the premium, you can see who likes you. So you get a whole page and you can just see all of the people that have swiped right on you, and then you can decide whether or not you like them back. And they dangle it in front of you. They're like, wow, there's like 500 people who have liked you. They're waiting to meet you, and I'm not matching with anybody. So I'm like, fine, finally break down. I pay their stupid, like, it's like $16. So I got desperate last month and I paid for it, and all it did was hurt my feelings. I paid $15 to have my feelings hurt because all of the people who liked me, I was just like, oh man, is that what league I'm in? That's such a bummer. Anyway, so the dating is not going great, but I'm always optimistic. All right, I think it's time then for us to get into the Morning Mews. The Morning Mews is the part of the show where I go through the top pop culture headlines, tell you a little bit about what's going on these days. So you got stuff to talk about at work or school. Isn't it the worst when you're just like awkwardly silent there and you don't know what to say? Well, now you can be like, hey, did you know you can buy a hoverboard? And that's where we're gonna start, is with the hoverboard. So videos have been going viral a lot lately that hoverboard technology is here, baby. And I'm not talking about those stupid little ones with the wheels and the batteries that kept exploding. I'm talking about a legit platform with propellers on the bottom that you can hover around on. This weekend, a video went viral of this guy. Look at him. Look at him go. He is hustling. So he's just hoverboarding down the street. Absolutely bananas. Can you believe that that is almost here? Well, the future of hoverboard technology could be here even sooner than we imagined. The hoverboard company Omni is saying that their 10 propeller board should be available for sale this summer, a little bit later this year, if, supply chains are all weird, what with the pandemic and the Ever Given blocking off the world's trade, but they're suspecting that they'll be able to put it for commercially for sale by this summer. And it looks a lot like that one I was just showing you. That's not an Omni board, but they're basically the exact same thing. And Omni is saying, while it looks cool to ride it above the street, the safest place to ride it is right above water. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm terrified of falling off of a skateboard, which is what, a devastating 1/4 of an inch fall off the ground? Like, genuinely, I can't handle that. It's too high and it's too scary. But I have seen videos of them riding it over the water, and I'm like, I could probably mess with that, because worst case scenario, I get to go swimming after. Double activity, in my opinion. Here's the thing, though. They should be available this summer, but they aren't gonna come cheap, honey. They are gonna cost $36,000. That is more than most of us paid for our cars. $36,000 to buy a 10 propeller hoverboard from Omni this summer. If you want a little bit cheaper of an option, they are currently working on an 8 propeller model, which will eventually go for $27,000. What a steal! What, $9,000 less? I just feel like I shouldn't be removing propellers. If we have one that's working really well, why take things away from it? I think we should just keep souping that one up, you know what I mean? The hoverboard, by the way, the technology, it's gonna be just like, you remember when DVD players came out and how expensive they were, and now, like, you can't get rid of DVD players anymore? These hoverboards are not the best quality either. They're going to last anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes in the air. So those hoverboard videos that one that I was showing you, if you watch these clips online, all of the videos are super duper short because the batteries just don't last very long up there. So yeah, there are some problems. They don't last very long, etc., but we've got hoverboards. Marty McFly would be losing it right now. We actually have legit hoverboards. All right, moving on to the New York man. A New York man was recently arrested for his involvement in the deadly insurrection on the Capitol back on January 6th. Now, that is not funny. Leading a terroristic insurrection on the Capitol is not a funny thing. What is funny is how this idiot got caught. He was on Bumble, which is like Tinder, but, different. Allegedly. So he was on Bumble and he matched with a woman, and they got kind of into an argument about politics. And he started bragging, basically, about how he was there on the Capitol January 6th, and he made it all the way into the statuary, and the media interviewed him, and he was so important and all this, that, and the other. So she responds to him, and she's just like, "We are not a match." And he goes, "Yeah, I suppose you're right." Now, it could have just ended there. Luckily, it didn't. She turned him in. She took the messages that he had sent her to the authorities and said, "Hey, I think this guy you might want to look into. I think he's one of the rioters that you're trying to track down." So they get his account. They match him to a face that they kept seeing in police body cam footage from that day. So they were able to match him and place him actually where he said he was, which was in the statuary. And then they were able to track down his Facebook because they had his Bumble account, and he had been bragging and talking all about it on Facebook. So they were able to arrest him, and he is now in custody. That's the thing about criminals, man. Criminals typically turn themselves in at some point. Criminals will eventually brag to the wrong person, and that wrong person's gonna be offered a sandwich in an interrogation and just sing like a canary. Like, they're so concerned about the vaccine being used to track us. I was like, you're tracking yourself. You're telling the government everything. You gladly log into Facebook or YouTube, you put in all of your information, you tell them, you check in where you are every day, and you let them have all of your information. They don't need to track you. It's called the iPhone. That's your tracker, buddy. And finally, a professional soccer team, Toronto FC, was practicing here in the United States. They were on a practice field out in Orlando, and during a closed practice, they were greeted by an alligator. And this was a big stinking alligator. It didn't say in the article, but like he was easily 6 feet, maybe 7, 8, reaching there. Big guy. And this gator pops up on the field, and all of the soccer players kind of walk towards him. They're like very curious, and they go to kind of introduce themselves. So some guy in a golf cart, I assume someone who works for the practice field, came on by and just, did the thing the Floridians do. He hopped out of the golf cart, walked up to the gator, slapped his tail, and just sort of herded him out of the field. Like, get out of here, you naughty gator. He just gave him little gator spankings and got him out. I love this story because it just so beautifully illustrates two cultures coming together at once. Nothing screams Florida like an alligator popping out onto a soccer field, I assume, to yell at them to play football. Why don't you play some American football? All right, we don't play that here in the U.S., thank you. Which I think is pretty Floridian. If he was holding a gun, I would assume that, you know what, for the story, he was definitely holding a gun. Gator came out, he's like, stop playing soccer! And then the Canadians, ever the friendly folk, wander on up to him and do the most Canadian thing. They introduce themselves politely. And then they had to call some Floridian hillbilly on a golf cart to come slap the gator out of there. Again, just Florida style. Oh, I would have given anything to be there. I really genuinely would have. I would have flipped that gator right over. I would have started tickling his belly and kissing his little snoot. I love gators. Plus, like, the thing is, Floridians get up and they slap gators because they know that most gators like to flee. Obviously, don't just go touching gators and grabbing them and doing whatever you want. Don't do it unless you really know what you're doing and you're prepared to lose that hand. But for the most part, gators are more scared of you and they want to flee. Like, you're too big, you're too much of a hassle, you wouldn't be worth eating. They just want to get away from you. So that's what that's all about. If you ever see videos of Floridians slapping gators, that's how they get them to go away. And that is the Morning Mews. All right, let's check in on the chat. Let's see how everyone's doing. My goodness, the chat is hopping this morning. Good morning, Brent, Mindy, Shelby, Marsha. Oh, Shelby, honey, that's a bummer. Shelby tried to make coffee, but she forgot to add the coffee. The good news is, though, Shelby, now you have a pot full of hot water. So if you were planning on oatmeal or, I don't know, cocoa, you could have tea instead of coffee. You are good to go, sister. I hope your day gets better. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Erica. Linda, Zizor, hello. Marissa, Sadie, Jessica, Nathan, Corinne, Doggone T. Wow, this is a hoppin' chat. Good morning. Happy hump day, Sadie. Oh, yeah. So Zizor points out that you do get one free super like. That's the improved, upgraded like that Tinder was trying to get me to give to people who they think are out of my league. You do get one free super like a day. But here's the thing. I'm never like so into the people that they're into to use my super like on that. I would really rather use it on someone else. So that's what I've never understood about that. Like, yeah, that's a good looking guy. I'm interested. But it's never the guy that I'm like, oh God, I hope I match with this one so bad. And Tinder's like, they haven't figured me out yet. They don't know my algorithm. Oh, thank you, Jessica. Don't feel too bad for me, though. The dating world is horrible no matter what. The dating world was awful before the pandemic. I have been dating for over half my life now, and it has always been garbage. So it's not different now. It's just always terrible. Good morning, Lindy. How are you, dear? All right. I think that's everyone. Good morning. I'm so excited to see you. Make sure you keep talking in the chat. I love when y'all chat with each other. Sometimes I'll get into that chat and y'all will have like full conversations that I was not privy to because I was busy doing this thing right here. So that's always very fun. Hey, before we continue, I would like to plug our Patreon, patreon.com/nightcatshow. I think like nearly everybody in this chat right now, the live chat that I just said hello to, I believe that they're all patrons. So patreon.com/nightcatshow. Thank you for being patrons. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's an awesome service that helps you support your favorite artists. People like me who are independent. We don't have any big money backing us, but we love what we do and we love making content. And if you enjoy the content that we make, help us keep it going by subscribing to the Patreon. You can join at a $3 a month or a $5 a month level. You can pledge more than that if you want, but for as little as $3 a month, you can help keep Nightcat going strong. I really appreciate everything that our patrons do. The thing about Patreon is, if you are a Patreon patron, you get access to the Curiosity Killed Nightcat episodes. That's the true crime podcast on Nightcat Radio. You get those a week before anybody else. So right now, everyone has episode 4, but Patreon is currently sitting on episode 5. Lots of awesome perks to becoming a patron. Check it all out at patreon.com/nightcatshow. Join all the cool kids in the chat. Become a patron. And hey, tomorrow, I can't believe I get to say this, but tomorrow is our first ever true crime walking tour of downtown Salt Lake City. There are still a few spaces available on that tour if you're interested. You can find the link in the link tree in the description of this video, linktr.ee/JacksonWitt. But we are going to go to 5 true crime locations, places where crimes happened here in Salt Lake City. They're all very walkable. It's going to be a little over a mile in total. We're going to walk around to a few different crime hotspots. We're going to stop at a bar. You can get food or soda or drinks or whatever you want. And then we're going to keep on trucking. It is going to be so fun. I'm designing the brochures right now. That's what I was doing all night. We're going to have the time of our lives. So if you want to be a part of it, check out the link tree, description of this video. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you go like this video? Just real quick, just give it a big old thumbs up. That would be very helpful. Thank you. All right, I think it's time then for us to check out why you shouldn't eat your boogers. I don't know why I'm always trying so hard to convince you not to eat your boogers. I don't care what you do with your boogers. You can eat them, put them in a tissue, roll them up, stick them in your pocket, put it behind your ear, save it for later. I don't care what you do with your boogers. But this book I got at Goodwill one time, and it's just fun. It's chock full of really weird, interesting, fun facts about your body. It's called Why You Shouldn't Eat Your Boogers and Other Useless and Gross Information About Your Body by Francesca Gold. Now, since I was a child, you know how there were all those rumors constantly floating around as a child, just like old wives' tales and stuff, and it was always so hard to know what was real and what was not. Like, notably, drinking Mountain Dew would make a certain appendage smaller on men. That was a rumor that went around forever. And I thought it was pretty outlandish, just like the time that they told me that Coca-Cola contained cocaine. The thing is, Coca-Cola definitely contained cocaine back in the day. Cocaine is a drug extracted from the leaves of the coca plant. Coca-Cola. It is a powerful brain stimulant and one of the most addictive drugs known to man. Cocaine causes immediate euphoric effects, which include increased energy, reduced fatigue, and increased mental clarity. So they're just like, it's a wonder drug. In 1886, an American pharmacist named John Pemberton invented Coca-Cola. It was sold only in drugstores and contained a large amount of cocaine. So not only was cocaine in Coca-Cola, it was like the main selling point. They were selling it as medicine. They're like, you're gonna love this bubbly tonic. Not only was it a refreshing drink and a pick-me-up, it was also marketed as a brain tonic, which cured headaches, depression, hysteria, and muscular aches and pains. Well, yeah. It's hard to be depressed when you're up and ready to do stuff all the time. Hey! Oh my gosh. The olden days. It's just wild out what they used to do back then. Pemberton sort of played around with the recipe for a little while, and by 1903, cocaine had been completely removed from the formula, so it really only contained cocaine for about 20 years, a little less than 20 years, but That's a long time to be selling cocaine to the good people of America as a refreshing soft drink. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, Americans could buy dozens of products containing cocaine, heroin, or opium. You could buy it without a prescription at the local drugstore, or you could literally mail in a form, just like, hey, I want some heroin lollipops. And like, all right, here you go. So products contained cocaine included things like cocaine toothache drops. So if you had a toothache, you put some cocaine in there. It's just like, oh, what's your problem? Oh, you got toothaches, do you? Oh, you got depression, do you? Oh, you got shot through the gut during a battle. I guess you should do some cocaine about it. Cough cure contained a mixture of marijuana and morphine. And Dr. James's soothing syrup contained heroin. Even babies weren't safe from the way that we used drugs back in the day. Dr. Moffat's Tethina teething powders were used to help teething babies and were packed with opium. Yeah. Have you ever listened to, like, old grandmas tell you how to take care of your kid? They're always trying to just get a little bit of liquor into those babies, aren't they? They're just like, put some rum, put some bourbon on his gums. He's fine. It's just like, yeah, or a frozen strawberry or something, bud. Like, what are you talking about? Give him one of those little teething rings with, like, the little frozen ones. You don't put cocaine and or heroin and or alcohol into a baby's mouth. Different times, I suppose. That's always what they say, right? It was a different time. It's just like, yeah, I still don't know that heroin in baby formula was a good idea. All right, let's see. Okay, I think that's it, man. We did Why You Shouldn't Eat Your Boogers. We talked about the True Crime Tours tomorrow. Make sure you go get your tickets. We went through the Morning Mews. I told you about the horrifying things Tinder is up to. Don't forget, tonight we've got a brand new episode of Nightcap with Nightcat. That is the longer form scripted show. Not so scripted, but like edited and produced. It's half toy review, half pop culture, half stupid news, half vlog where I tell you embarrassing stories. It's a little bit of half of everything. It's very fun. You're going to love it. Make sure to subscribe to the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel so you don't miss out on Nightcap with Nightcat tonight at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tell all your friends about it. And you can find the audio for this episode as well as any Nightcap with Nightcat episodes on the Nightcat Radio podcast. Look for it on your favorite podcast directory. Like it, subscribe to it, write a review. That would be really great. Thank you so much. You're just the best. I guess that's mostly what I want to close out with. You're the best. I hope you have the day that you deserve. From what I've seen, you deserve to have a fabulous day. So far, you've all been wonderful, but you know, only time will tell. We're going to let karma sort all that out for you. I'm going to turn it over to the fish for 3 minutes of fish, but I hope you have a lovely day. Bye. Bye.